Hello students and welcome to the Bootstrap 5 course. Now the first thing you should do is to go to Google, open your browser, Chrome or Firefox. I would recommend using Chrome for this course. So let's type Bootstrap and the latest version, Bootstrap 5. Here it is. You can click this introduction, the first link. Okay, so this is the official site of Bootstrap. Now, for all of you that don't know what Bootstrap is a framework based on HTML and some JavaScript that will allow you to create websites for the different devices that we have nowadays. So mobile phones, tablets, desktop. So if you want to create a website that is responsive, as it says here, build fast responsive sites with Bootstrap. If you want to create a responsive website, responsive means that is optimized for all devices. And that's what we want nowadays, because everyone is using different devices. So we want to build optimized sites for all devices nowadays. And all developers, or most of developers nowadays are using Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is a very important framework, and you should learn this to create optimized and cool sites. So let's learn how to create sites with Bootstrap and the features that Bootstrap brings. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is that Bootstrap has different versions. The current version is Bootstrap 5. You might find Bootstrap 4 or Bootstrap 3 maybe, but the latest one is Bootstrap 5. You might find in the future new versions of Bootstrap because they are always updating Bootstrap with new versions and new features. Now, you can go to Docs here in the top, and if you click here, you're gonna find one of the most important and most complete documentation about Bootstrap. And here you can find everything and all the instructions to use every single feature of Bootstrap. And on the left side, you have the introduction, the download. We will get there in just a moment. All the contents, everything you need to know about Bootstrap. So every time you need to know anything about Bootstrap or you don't understand how to use a feature, you can always come to this page, okay, through this URL and click here. So as you can see, you have everything you need to know about all the features on Bootstrap. Okay, you have the grid. We will talk about the grid. You have a lot of things, tables, images. These are all the features that you can use with Bootstrap, okay, and are optimized for all, to create sites for all devices, responsive sites, as we told you. So let's go back, and the first thing you should do, and in this course I'm going to use the editor Sublime. You might use, you probably use, already know Notepad++. You can also use Notepad, but I'm going to use Sublime Text for this course. You can also use the VCode, which is another good editor, Visual Studio Code, okay? This is also a very cool editor that nowadays is very popular. But for now, I'm going to use Sublime Text for this course. So let's jump straight away to how to start using Bootstrap or how to install Bootstrap on our editor. So let's go to Sublime, and to start using or creating a site with Bootstrap, the first thing you should do is obviously create. I have Sublime Text here. It's create, obviously, HTML file, right? So let's create an HTML file. Okay, so we have now the HTML length and EN for English text. We have these metas also inside the head. Make sure you put these charset UTF-8. You can learn more about this on Bootstrap documentation page that I showed you before. And make sure you also put these metas. Okay, these are for compatibility purposes for Internet Explorer, so everything works fine. So let's go back. Let's go down and create title and create my Bootstrap site. And inside the body, make sure you create also h1 header and type my page. Okay, so let's open this. I've created this file index, so let's open this with Chrome, and there it is. Okay, so for now we have this, and now we haven't included the Bootstrap on this site yet. So to include Bootstrap on this site we are creating, we need to go back to the documentation page on Bootstrap, and let's click the download. And we are going to use, you have different options here. You can download the complete source file and compiled CSS and JavaScript, but I would recommend you to use the CDN option. Okay, so what we are going to do is copy this line of code. Okay, you can click here, copy, and we have to include it on the site, on the code we have here. So now we need to go here inside the head and paste them. Okay, so you can paste it with this option here. Click the right button of your mouse and click paste. So let's save this, and we are now ready to create a Bootstrap site because we have integrated Bootstrap with these lines of code. Okay, now the last thing we need to do is to change the JavaScript code, which is the script code here, and put it in the bottom of the body. Okay, so just before closing body we put it there. Okay, so let's delete this. So this would be the CSS, Bootstrap CSS, and this would be JavaScript. Okay, so now we have everything ready to create a site with Bootstrap and start using all the components or features of Bootstrap in this site. Okay, in the next videos of the course we will start using the different features of Bootstrap, but make sure you always have these links. Okay, this down on the body and this here. I would recommend you saving this file and this code and always start from here, so you make sure you'll have sure that you have the codes correctly. Okay, so make sure you save this file. Every time you start a new lesson on Bootstrap course, you have this ready, this file ready to start. Okay, see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another Bootstrap lesson. In this lesson we'll learn how to use the grid and what the grid in Bootstrap is. So I'm pretty sure that you already saw in different devices and websites, when you open websites, you see different columns or sections that, as I have here in this example, we have column, another column, and another column. Okay, so as soon as we change the dimension of the browser, automatically these columns will be stacked on top one of another, as you can see here. Okay, and this basically helps you create websites or responsive websites with sections for the different devices, okay? So they can fit in different monitor sizes. So this is what you will learn in this lesson and how to use this. It's pretty simple. So let's open the code from the last video on our Sublime Text Editor, and you can now collapse the head tags, okay? So we can have everything more organized and clean. Now here, let me just type a hello world to start. And let me save this. And let's run this here, and there it is. Okay, so instead of hello world, let's change this. Let's call this the grid system. And down here, in order to start creating columns, and that's how we will work with the grid system. It works with columns and rows. So first we must start with the div class container. So let's create div class container. And inside this container, we're going to put the rows and columns. The columns must be wrapped in row elements, okay? So, and this will ensure that everything has the correct padding and format. So let's create a div with class equals row, okay? Now, depending on the layout of your page, you will use a different number of columns for each section. So let's start with 2 columns first, or 2 sections. So let's create 2 div classes, and let's call them col LG 2 and let's copy this. Let's create other one here, another one, and now let's call this let's put it in call 1 and call 2. Okay, so let me save this and let's refresh, and there we have it. Okay, column 1 and column 2. Okay, if we stretch it, you see that column 1 and column 2 will now be next to each other. If the browser is shorter, it will stack on top one of another. Okay, now in order to see this more clearly, let's give this a style or background color. So let's type style equals background color, and let's type lavender. And here let's give a style of background color lavender blush. Okay, let's save this. Let's refresh it here. And lavender, sorry, lavender. So let's save this, refresh. Okay, there it is. So now you can see with the background color, the columns will basically be one on top of another when they have to, when they have no more space. Now let's say I want a smaller first section or a smaller column 1 and a larger column 2. You can change that directly on the class itself. On the name of the class, you can type here 1, and let's put, for example, 10 here. This means 1 column, and this will mean that the second section will have 10 columns. Let's put a 2 here instead. Let's save this. Let's refresh it, and if you enlarge the browser, you'll see that you have the second column a lot larger than the first one. Okay, this is how you can create and control by the class name the size of your sections or columns. Now remember, this adds all in the total of 12 columns. As you can see, I'm using 12 columns, okay, 10 and 2, but you can do something different like this. Let's add a new one here, and let's type here 6, and here I can put 4, and then 2. Sorry, 2. Okay, save this and refresh it. Okay, so now if we put this, oh, sorry, let's change the background there. Yeah, a lot better. So now you can see the different sizes of the full 12 total columns that you can use, okay, divided in 3. Now it's up to you if you want to use 4 different sections, 5, 6, 7, okay, and until the total of 12 sections. And each one of the sections, how many columns want to expand to. Now you can see that there's a fixed width, and we have some space here on the left and the right. In order to change that and make the columns reach the border of the browser and cover the total area, we change this to container fluid. Okay, refresh here, and now you'll see that everything, all the columns will cover the whole area of the browser or the web page. You can also offset columns, which is really cool and really good feature on the grid system. Let me show you an example. Let's take out the fluid. This would be a fixed grid without the fluid. So let's create here a new div. And here, let's create a new div, and let's give it a class of col lg2, and let's type here offset 1, and let's give it a style of gray. Okay, so let's save this, refresh it. I just forgot to put a class here. We need to put a class of row. Let's save this and refresh. Okay, now we have it, everything aligned here. Okay, so the offset is here, and you can change in the second row, you can change the offset to whatever column you want. Okay, to do that, just type here col lg offset and the number of columns we want to move the offset to the right. Okay, so basically it's pretty similar like padding on the left side to the right side. So if we refresh it, there it is. Okay, we have moved 2 columns, the section offset 1 to the right. If we type, for example, let's type 10 and and save this, you will see that we have pushed all the way through to the right the offset 1 section. Okay. Now this is how you use the main features of the grid system. Now you have noticed that I'm using always call, LG and 6 as the class name. Now this has a meaning. Call stands for columns, okay? And as you noticed, 6 or the number 42 is the number of columns. Now LG stands for the viewport size you want to create those columns for. So in my case, or in this case, LG stands for larger desktops. And because the grid system is responsive, it has various styles for different viewport sizes. It has one for medium-sized devices, for small devices. So in order to show you this more effectively, I'm going to show you in the browser. I'm using Chrome. If we do inspect element, you'll see that we have at the top right corner, we have the amount or the size in pixels of the window, right? And you see that as soon as we reach 1200 pixels, it changes the layout. Okay, so this is the different sizes that there are right now on devices. At 1200 it changes, and then at let me see, at 900 pixels changes it again. That's it. Okay, so it changes at 1200 and 900, and all these changes are called, as soon as we reach the 1200, it's called the breakpoint. Okay, which changes all the layout of the website. You even have an amazing feature on Google Chrome, which is this icon here, more like an iPhone. If you click it, you'll have all the different sizes that you want to try your website on. So let's say I want to see how my website is presented on an Apple iPhone 5. There it is. Okay, or on Google Nexus or Optimus L17. So you can try all these devices and see how your website is presented there. Okay, if you want to give different columns for different sizes, you can type, let's say I want this section to cover 6 columns in larger devices, but I want this to cover only 3 columns in medium devices. So to do that, we type MD for medium and then 3. Okay, so you have medium, and what about extra small or small devices like the smartphones? So this would be call XS, and then let's type 1 column. So this section for larger screens would be 6 columns, or it would cover 6 columns. For the medium devices would cover 3 columns, and for the small or extra small devices would cover 1 column. Or you can put it the same columns. It's up to the layout you are creating. Okay, so this is commonly used when you need to change to different layouts for the different devices. Okay, so this is all for the grid, and if you got any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. In this lesson, we'll learn how to use the buttons and icons in Bootstrap. So let's start, and the first thing you're going to do, let's create an anchor tag. And this anchor tag will have a class of, let's call this BTN. And here let's type my button. So let's save this. And now if if I open this in Chrome, this is what we will have, okay? Would be a very simple link. Now, let's create a more familiar button like the ones we are used to see in cool websites. To do that, we just have to change the name of the class, because Bootstrap already comes with classes for buttons or default buttons. So one of those classes is btn space btn again dash defaults. Now let's save this and see how the button is presented in Chrome. Let's refresh, and there it is. Okay, so this will be the default button style that comes with Bootstrap and you can use. Okay, cool. Now let's go and see other types of buttons that Bootstrap has and you can use it. So what I can do here is copy this and let's paste it a few times here, because I'm going to show you all the different classes that you can use for the different buttons in Bootstrap. So we know the default, the first one. So the second one is called primary. So the class btn space btn dash primary will have another type of button. Let's see, refresh, cool, and there it is. And as you can see, I have all the other buttons here, okay? So which means they are already styled for a navbar. And this is very, very, very handy. You don't need to style it because they are already styled by default as buttons and they are next to each other. So let's check another button. We can use the success class button, and here let's change this to primary. Success. Here we can type the default button. Now here info. Warning. Here danger. And finally the link type button. Okay. So link. Danger and warning. Okay, so let's save this and let's check this out in the Chrome browser. Let's refresh, and there it is. Okay, so we have the default button, which basically doesn't have any color at all, just has an hover darker color. The primary, which is dark blue, the success, which is green, light blue info, the warning button would be orange, the danger would be red, and then we have the simple link. Okay, so these are the buttons and classes that you can use in Bootstrap. They come already with their own style, and it's very, very handy when creating fast websites. Now let's take these out. Let's leave only the default and primary buttons. And you can also give different sizes to these buttons. So let's say I want a bigger button for the default or the primary. Let's change the primary button to a larger one. So to do that, we just do btn primary and then btn again dash LG, for which means stands for larger button. Okay, so save this and let's go here, refresh, and there it is. You see it's a larger, much larger. So let's copy this and let's give it a smaller size with the SM class here. So let's save this, refresh it, and there it is. Okay, you see the difference, much bigger. And let's type the normal one here as well. Let's put the button sizes in order. Okay, it's better presented. So the first would be the small, and then the primary or the default, and then the LG. So let's save this and refresh it. There it is. Okay, so the small, this is the default size as well, and then the big one. Let's delete this one here as well. Save this. And now I'm going to show you even a smaller button here. So just copy this, copy and save with the XS, okay, which stands for extra small. Let's check it out, and there it is. Okay, so these are the 4 sizes for the buttons that you can use. Now I'm going to show you also how to expand a button to its parent element, the same size in this case of the container. Okay, so let's do that with a larger button, and in here just need to type btn dash and then block. Okay, so let's save this, refresh, and there it is. Okay, so this is how we create, or you can create full width buttons. Okay, so in these examples I used the ahref or the anchor tag for creating buttons, but you can use, for example, the button tag or element like this, and then let's give it the class, obviously, of btn success, for example, and here let's type success. Okay, let's save this, let's refresh it, and there it is. Okay, so let me show you how to use it on an input. Type submit, btn, and here let's on a warning, and then value equals send. Okay, let's refresh it, and there it is. Okay, so these are as you can see, you can use different elements with the different button classes. So this is how we use buttons, and now let me show you how you use icons. Now icons, in order to check all the icons that you can use, just go to getbootstrap.com/components, and here you'll have all the different available glyphs or icons that you can use with Bootstrap. Okay, so there are a ton of icons, and I'm going to show you now how to use them on your website. So let's go back to the code. So this is actually very, very simple. So let's type span class, and let's close the span. And inside the class, we're going to type the name of the icon, and you can check whatever icon you want. Let's say this one here. Okay, let's copy this, and there it is. Simple as that. So let's save this. Okay, and let's go back here, refresh it, and there it is. Okay, let's, for example, let's use another one. Let's use this one here, the cloud, or even this one here, the envelope. Okay, so here, cool, save it, and let's refresh, and there it is. Okay, you can even transform these to buttons, and in order to do that, let's leave only the envelope. Let's create a ref with class btn default, and now we can grab this, copy it, and use it here. Okay, save it. Now if you go here and refresh, there it is. Okay, we have an icon with as a button with envelope. Okay, if you change the style here, let's say to warning, the icon will change its color as well. Okay, so how cool is that, and all the possibilities that you now have. You can also change the size of the button. So let's say btn LG. Let's refresh, and there it is. Okay, cool. Now, if you don't want to use these sizes, you can even use or style it on your own with CSS. So let's say here we can give it a style to the icon itself of, let's type font size font size 5 EM. Okay, let's save this. Let's refresh it. Okay, and there it is. So you can actually, with this style, with CSS, you can actually control whatever size you want to your icon. Okay, you can even choose a color if you want to. Let's type red. Let's save this. Let's refresh it. And there it is. Okay, so yeah, this is all in this video. I hope you like it, and see you guys later. Hello everyone. In this lesson we'll learn how to use the different form components in Bootstrap. So let's start with the simple component form, using the form tags. And make sure you put role equals form. And this is used for helping users to access quickly this form on the window or on the browser. It makes basically the accessibility easier, and I will show you a later example of this. So let's continue. Next, every form element with its label must be included in a div with the class of form group, and this will ensure proper spacing between these elements. So I'm going to have a div with the class form group, and inside it, simple label for equal. Type form element 1, and here let's type this is a label, and after that let's create an input text, and this we can take this out. Let's give it an ID lm1. Sorry, here you can also put lm1 and a class of, let's type form control. So Let me save this. And let's push it a little bit here. So let's save this and let's check this out. And there it is. Cool. So we have the text, this is a label, and the input here. Now, as you saw by default, the input has by default always 100% of width. So obviously you can change this later on. So let's create now another label, or another div, sorry. And let's call this 2 and ID 2 and save this. Refresh it. There it is. Okay. So now I'm going to show you how you can use different help messages. For example, when you have a password and you want people to see, hey, password must be between 3 and 6 characters long. In order to do that, let's use a paragraph with a class help with the class help block. Okay. And here let's type this is a test of help section. So now if we open the Chrome browser and refresh it, okay, and there it is. Cool. This might appear differently for different browsers. Okay. Now this is a default form. You can also have an inline form, which means that all the elements will be in the same line. So let's create a new form. You can copy this one and just down here. Okay, and we can use a horizontal break here. So let's type in the class of the form here, let's type class equals form dash inline. Now in here, let's take this div out. And here let's change in the label form element 3, and also let's give it a class of sr dash only, which stands for screen reader only. So this text will only be shown on screen readers. So let's take this p out and let's duplicate this, copy paste it. And let's change this to element 4 and this obviously to element 4, and I forgot here to change this to element 3, the ID. So now let's place, let's put here some placeholders so the user would know what it has to put on each input. Placeholder, enter email. And here, let's type password. Obviously, we need to change this to input type password. Now, let's see the magic. Save this. And let's refresh this. And there it is. Boom. Okay, perfectly designed, perfectly presented in Bootstrap. Now you can type your email and password on a form with inline elements. Okay. Now we can also, from what we learned from the last video in buttons, we can add a button here of submit, right? So let's do that. Button. Type submit. And the class btn default, and let's hit sign up and close button. And let's save this. And I forgot to put here btn. Save this. And let's see, now refresh the browser, and there it is. Okay, cool. Now let's see how can we create a checkbox as well. So checkbox, we would need to create div with the class checkbox. Okay. Then we would create label for, and let's create input type checkbox, and here let's type remember me, and there it is. Okay, this is how we can create checkbox. Let's give it a little space in here, save it, and a lot better. So that's all for now, and see you in the next lesson. Bye.
Hello everyone, and in this lesson we're going to learn how to use Accordion in Bootstrap. So in order to do that, we just have to go to getbootstrap.com, go to docs, and in here you can go to content, forms, and components. Search for Accordion, and in here you have all the different accordions that you can use in your website. So I'm going to start with the first one and most simple one here. So we just have to use this source code here. Let's copy this, and in your body just paste this, save this, and let's launch. So there it is, working perfectly. Now you can use any of these accordions that you have here. You have a few different ones. Okay, so feel free to use it. It's pretty simple, and fast forward how to include it in your site, and see you guys later. Bye bye. Hello everyone, let's learn how to use and include cards in your site. So let's do pretty much the same thing we did in the last features. So you should go to docs in the getbootstrap.com site, search for components, search for card here, click it, and in here you have everything you need to include in your site to use the cards. Now cards are pretty much a very useful section that a lot of websites nowadays use to show a gallery with pictures and a description. If you go down here, we have a lot of different cards, or you can call it sections, as you can see here in vertical. Now in horizontal, these are pretty very known type of card in sites nowadays. So let's use grid cards or card groups. Let's use this one here. So let's copy this. Let's go to our text editor, paste it. Now let's save this and launch the site. Okay, so we don't have right now, as you can see, we don't have any images. Okay, and we have also not giving any limitations to the section. Okay, so in order to do that, we would have to create a div here with a class of content, and then we should wrap it up here with another div, and obviously go to CSS and give it some limitations. Okay, now I'm not going to do that. We already know how to use CSS, how to do that. Okay, let's just try another group of cards. Let's go down here, Let's try this one with 4 cards. Let's paste it and save this. Let's go back here, and there it is. Okay, perfect. So we would have to include obviously images, okay, in here, and obviously style it with some CSS. But this is how we use cards with in Bootstrap. Okay, you have a lot of different choices here. So that's it. See you guys later. Bye bye. Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about one of the most exciting things and one of the things that I loved most about Bootstrap, which is carousels and slides. And if you go to components in the documentation section and go to carousel, you'll see that you have different slides automatically inputted in your website with just a little bit of code. How cool is that? And you don't have to type any JavaScript code or anything else. You even have slides with different images that you can use and with controls. Okay, so this is pretty cool and pretty useful for your projects and websites. If I had a website, let me see what I would choose. This is a cool one. And we have this one with also text below it. And we have this with a cross-fade effect, which is pretty cool too. And well, you can use any one of these. So let's just try this one here. So let's get the code. And let's put it and paste it here. Let's save our file. And yeah, let's launch it. Okay, so as you can see, we didn't put any CSS on it. So the size of the slide is the same size of the whole website page. But you can use CSS to limit it. Okay, and this is how you can use slides, any slides you want. Obviously, you need to use and change images in the code, which would be in the image source here. Okay, so you can use any images there. Okay, so this is all, and see you guys later. Hello, in this video we're going to learn how to use drop-down menus with Bootstrap. So in order to avoid new versions to change the code and updates, we should go always to the website, Get Bootstrap, the official website from Bootstrap, and go to Docs. And basically, we just have to use the code that they provide here. We can copy paste it whenever we want. And that way we will avoid any type of errors or problems with new updates. So the first thing we should do, obviously, is always go to download and copy the CDN, this here, copy this, open our text editor. I'm using Sublime. You can use any other text editor like Notepad or Visual Code. And inside the head, paste it. Okay. This way we will make sure Bootstrap will work on our code. Make sure you always do that whenever you use Bootstrap code. Now inside the body, we're gonna put our drop down menu. To do that, we just have to go to components and search for drop downs. Click here, and down here you have all the samples of the drop down menu, the different samples you can use with the right source code. Okay, so let's use this first one, which is the most simple one,
And this is pretty self-explanatory. You have the source code, and then you have the graphical visual of what you get with that source code. So I'm gonna get this to work on my site. So I just have to copy this and in here, let's paste it. Perfect. Now let's see if this works in our site. So I have saved this on an index file, this one here. I'm gonna launch this, and there it is. Perfect. Okay, it works perfectly. Now you can position this whatever you want with CSS. Let's try this second one here. Let's copy this. Let's make a break here. Let's save this. And we refresh it, and there it is. Okay, perfect. So as you can see, it's really, really easy to include anything that you want in your website with just using the documentation on the page of getbootstrap.com. We have this different drop-down menus with colors. You can change the colors. Let's also try this one. Let's save this and okay, refresh it, and there it is. Well, we have this red one, but if we have to change it to another color, we just go to the class, and you see that this class has btn danger, right? So this means that we will get the drop-down menu button in red. If you want to change color, let's say for green, we just type the word that's in here, success. So let's go to the code and let's see if this works, and change this to, instead of danger, success, right? Save this, save it, refresh, and there it is. Okay, so that's pretty much how drop-downs work in Bootstrap, and that's all for now. See you guys later. Hello everyone, in this video we're going to learn how to use modal windows or modal pop-ups on our website with Bootstrap. So in the documentation we can go to Modal under components, and I'm going to show you an example how this works and what it is. So if you click in this demo, we can click here. We see that everything fades black and a pop-up emerges. So this is called the modal. We call this the modal windows or modals. And it's basically a pop-up on your website. And we use this a lot for different things in different projects. Now there are several different modal windows or modal pop-ups that you can use, and you have all these pop-ups, different pop-ups with different effects in here with different animations, extra large, large model, all these different models that you can use with Bootstrap with just a little bit of code. Okay, so let's just try one or two. Let's try this first one. Sorry, let's go down here. Let's try the first simple one with a button. So let's open this and paste it and
save this and launch it. Launch the file, and there it is. Okay, if we click it, there it is. Okay, we see that we have to include some text in here. It would be in here. So let's type just hello and save it. And if we refresh it and click it, there it is. Okay, so let's go back here. Okay, let's try this more complex one with different buttons. Let's go here and paste it, save this, refresh it, and if we click here, there it is. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and use any model that you want. Okay guys, so see you guys later. Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to talk about navs and tabs. So a lot of you asked me before how to use navs and links in the top of headers, nav bars, and how to center them or put it on the left or on the right. And this is how you can do it. You even have here how you can put it on the vertical, links to other pages or links to other sections of your site. And this is also very, very useful. So let's just try this first one. Let's save this. And if we refresh, there it is. So we have all these different links. We have this darker one, which is the disabled. If we go to the code, we can see that we have the disabled here. Let's try another one. Let's go down here and let's change this one, which is in the center. So let's try this. Paste it. Save it. You see that the class changes to nav justify content center. This class basically centers this whole nav bar. So if we refresh it, there it is. This is how easy it is to include nav bars on your site and how to center them. So what about if we want to put it on the right side? So we can just grab this code and do the same thing. Okay, and there it is. So we have many more. Let's try only one more, the vertical one, which is also very useful, which be the class flex column. Save it, and there it is. Okay, now we also have tabs. Tabs are also very useful to change from one little content packed inside a section to another. So let's just try this one. And there it is. Okay, we can change from content to content if we want to. Since we don't have any links here, href, when we click, we don't go anywhere, but you can include links there, URLs here to go to another section of your web page. Okay, and down here you have a lot of different tabs that you can use, even drop-down menus inside the tabs. If you're looking for tabs that when you click it changes to another section and you see other type of text, we have to go to the JavaScript behavior down here, which is in here. Okay, and we just have to, let's copy this. Let's go to the body section and paste it, save it. So let's, and there it is. Okay, so we see these little dots. So we would have to change these in the different sections. So the first section would be, let's type hello first. This would be hello second, and hello third. So you can type anything on these sections, whatever you want. Let's save this, see if this works. And there it is, perfect, with a little fade away effect. Okay, so this is how we use tabs, and this is all for now. See you guys later. Hello, in this video we're going to cover how to use and include a navbar, a complete navbar on our site. So in the last video we learned how to use links as a navbar, but now we will include a complete navbar on our site, Bootstrap site. So if we go down here, if we look for navbar in components in Bootstrap 5, we see that we have this complete navbar with even including a search inbox here. And we also have a navbar that includes a logo. So a lot of people ask me how to include a nice logo perfectly included on a navbar, and we're going to show you how to do that. So let's go and use this first one with this search inbox. Let's copy this. Let's go to our body section and see how this looks on our, and there it is. So we have all this complete navbar with the search bar in here. Obviously we can short this with CSS, but it goes all the way through the whole website page. Now we can also, let's go down here and see if we wanted to include a navbar with a logo. Let's save this, and there it is. Obviously we don't have a logo here image because we would have to include the image in here in the image source. Okay, this goes to another file that we don't have on our computer. Now obviously we have this navbar, which is important component. You can try and use other multiple components that you have under components in Bootstrap documentation. Each one of these can be very useful for your projects, and you can use their source code and include it easily on your website or project. Okay, so that's all, and see you guys later. Bye bye. Hello everyone, and welcome to this final project for Bootstrap. In this Bootstrap final project, we're gonna create this landing page, this beautiful template built completely with Bootstrap 5, completely responsive, and that you can use for any of your clients or your personal projects. And this template could be used for software companies or client of yours that wants just a beautiful template landing page to show their products, and with a little contact us form in the bottom. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and start creating this with Bootstrap 5. So the first thing we're going to do is to download Visual Studio Code. In this project I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. You can use either Notepad or Sublime Text or any other text code editor. So let's download this. And you can download it too. Let's install it. So we have installed it. We have these different templates that you can use, either dark, light, or high contrast. I'm going to use the dark one, which is the most common one. And you have a bunch of different options that you can use. But let's go straight to the code and let's get this out of here. So what I'm going to do is create on my desktop, I'm going to create a new folder, which is going to be the folder for the project. Let's call this project boots. And inside this project, let's go here. We can start create folder for CSS files if we have any, JS files, JavaScript files if we have any, and also EMG files, image files. Okay, now this is how you will usually create a website with all the folders organized by CSS, EMG, or JS files. And then here we're going to put the other files of the website, like index.html and the other files. So let's create a new file. And the head tags, and obviously the body section. Now I'm gonna save this file to save as, and I'm going to save it project boots and index.html file. Okay, so now it recognizes the code as HTML. We can click here for opening the folder where our project is. So this way, yes, so this way we basically have the control over the folder and all the files and subfolders of the project, okay, which is in here. Now we can start creating a few more details in here. Okay, so I have included all of this that you also need to include at the top of your code. So make sure you open the doc type declaration, and in the HTML first tag you type the language English, and in the head the meta tag charset UTF-8. This has to do with the English language. Now if you have any doubts about this, or the language you are using and the characters you are using in the text for your website, you should go to w3schools.com tags ref language codes.asp, search for the language code reference, and it will tell you the code that you need to use for your language. Now in the case of EN for English, we use the UTF-8, and if you are using, for example, let's say Portuguese, you should search for Portuguese here. You should use the PT, okay, instead of EN. Now let's go to Bootstrap docs page, the download section, and let's include JavaScript head files, the link to the CSS and JavaScript, so Bootstrap can work with our code. So let's go here and paste it inside the head tags. Okay. Now what we can do is start creating our project finally. So now we also need to go to components,
and we will include a new navbar to our site. Okay, it would be this one here at the top. So let's go and include a new navbar on our site. So let's go down here and let's see, we don't need the search, we need this one here. Okay, so let's copy this and let's include it on our site. So in the body section, just paste it there. Okay, and we can now save the file. Okay, and let's see how it looks. And there it is. Okay, we have our header, navbar header here. Now we have to change just a few things. So the first thing we're going to do, we need to take this, change the div class from container fluid just to container. So now we're going to use also a logo. So we need to type here image src, and here let's type emg, which is the folder in here, this one here. And we still don't have a logo, but let's type logo.png. Okay, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use in here, I have to put a logo png file that I have here. Okay, but you can also download all these files in the link below. Okay, you can download these. And also, so now we have the logo. Let's see how it works. There it is. Okay, so now we have a logo, and now we're going to push these links to the right side. By the way, if you want to make a logo, you don't like this, you want another one for your company, client, or for your project, you can go here to luca.com and create your own logo. This is a great site to create your own logo for any type of color, of font. Okay, now, okay, let's proceed. Now to push it to the right, let's go down here. And in the div class here, we need to type justify content end. Okay, and basically this, what we will do is to justify, and if we refresh it, there it is. Okay, perfect. So we now have all of this ready, and we will continue in the next lecture with the header and the image here in the top of the page. Okay, see you later. Hello and welcome back to the final project of Bootstrap 5, where we are creating this cool template. So the next thing we want to do is to make this navbar sticky. So when you scroll down, it stays here, as you can see in the top. Okay, so to do that, we just need to add a class to our, let's go back to the code here and type fixed top. Okay, save it. And we can't test it now because we don't have other content. So let's go ahead and start putting some content on our page. So to include a new header, the new section of the header, let's go down here after the nav, just right after we close the nav bar. So let's type header. Okay, and inside the header, let's give it a class of, the class has to be page header gradient. Okay, and now we need to create a CSS file. So let's create a new file. A new file here. This is going to be CSS file. So here let's type gradient. It's going to be a class, and now in here we will need to create a gradient color, and to do that we should go, or you can go to cssgradient.io. I'm going to show you how cool this is and how you can create gradient colors for your websites so they look really sharp and beautiful. So in here you can use, as you can see, different colors for gradient, beautiful colors. So let me just use here a little bit. Yes, well, I'm gonna use this one. Looks cool. Let me just see. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, this is great. Looks great here. Okay, I'm gonna use this one. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, and let's go back. So I'm gonna copy paste it here. Okay, and I'm also gonna save this as CSS, save as inside a CSS, and let's call it style.css. Okay, great. Okay, now we also need type. Let's include. Let's give it here a few things to the body. Let's give it a height of 100%, and let's give it a font size 1 rem. Okay, let's save this. And down here, let me just oh, I forgot to mention, you have to put on the head, we need to link to also the style.css of our CSS folder. Yeah, that's it. So let's save this. Now inside the header, we need to create a few things. So let's type container, and if you're gonna see a cool thing, which is in Visual Code, if you type container, automatically you click enter and it creates the div for you with a class container. Okay, how awesome is that? So there's a lot of abbreviations that Visual Code Studio uses that makes you code quicker. Now also inside this, let's type another class, div class called row. Okay. Now inside this, if you type call MD6, and if you don't know what call, which means stands for column, if you don't know what this means, you can go back to the first or the second video of the Bootstrap course. But basically this means that we are putting columns in the row and we're gonna multiply it by 2. If you type this in Visual Code Studio, automatically it will give you 2 columns. Okay, how cool is that? So here we're gonna type main text or header text, and here we're gonna put an image. So let me save this. So let's go back to main. In main text, make sure you type, let's type header 1, and let's type
this is the main text title, and then you can type paragraph. Hi there, this is the more extensive paragraph for the site. Type whatever you want. Okay, so let's save this, and now if we refresh it, okay, we have this here. We have to a little bit put it more in the middle, put it more down here. We also forgot, we don't have the gradient in the top, so we forgot to put the style.css. Obviously we need to put the dot in here. Okay, so let's save this, let's go back, refresh. Okay, so we have this gradient, but it's too thin, right? We needed to give it a more height. So in order, we don't need to give it a vertical height, because as soon as we put an image on it, he will basically automatically covers the image. So let's put the image first. So let's go back to the code and let's put an image here, image, and in here image src, and let's type emg, and let's look for an image. So I already have all these images that you can also download for this project if you want to, or you can use your own images if you want to. So I'm going to use this this image for our header. So let's go back to the code, and if we go to image, here it is. Okay, so let's go index.html image here, and then we're gonna type the name, which is email campaign, and there it is. Okay, automatically searches for the name of the image. So let's save this, let's go back to the project and refresh, and there it is. Perfect. So we still need to put a little bit of here of space on top of the image. So for that we go to style and type so page header, and let's give it a margin top for rem. Okay, this should do it. Let's save this, and let's go back here, and there it is. Awesome. You can see now the H1, this is main text title, and looks perfect. Let's also do font size 1.25 rem, change color to white, so let's refresh. Okay, so I'm also gonna change the font. Okay, so let's go to Google Fonts. If you don't know this site, this is great to get different Google fonts or different fonts for your different projects. So I'm gonna search for Montserrat, which is this one here. Okay, and we need to choose a style. So I'm gonna choose this one here. Select the style. So now we have to link this on our in here. Okay, and save this. And on our style.css, we're gonna use this. And
in our body. Okay, let's save this and refresh it, and there it is. We see that the font has changed. Okay, so as you can see, you can use whatever font you want in here. So let's continue and push this a little bit down here. Now let's justify all this text, and we need to change a few little things in here. So in the nav class, down here in row, we need to justify, give it a justify content end. Sorry, it's not end, and it's content center. And we also want to give it align items center. So let's save this and refresh, and there it is. Perfect. Okay, so now what we're still missing is the buttons below the text. So let's find buttons in the components section, buttons here. So I'm going to use these outline here. So I'm going to use the green one, copy, and then you can also type here read more, and instead of warning, let's type watch video. Okay, let's save this. Let's refresh it. Okay, let's just change a few little things. I want to make them a little bigger. So in the class, we can give it a btn lg. Okay, and let's save this and refresh, and there it is. Okay, perfect. So now we need to create the wave that we have in here, the same effect. So to do that, we're going to use a cool site, another cool site that you can use, which is the getwaves.io, to create this type of effect. Okay, it will create for you automatically, or this square, or this one here. So we're going to use this one. You can change it, the amount of curves that it has, or this one here, only one curve, or this one here. Okay, you can also click here to see what is the best suitable for you. So I found this one, which is perfect for the project, and there it is. We need to change this from blue to white. So let's go in here, let's go into the code, and in the path fill, let's type here FFF, and let's save this, refresh, and there it is. Okay, perfectly done. And if you also want to change the colors of the buttons, you can do so in here. So that's all for now, and see you guys later. Hello, and let's proceed with the project. So now we will need to include these logos on the next section. Okay, section section, and let's give it a class of companies. Now we're going to use container, div class container, and a div class row,
So now we're going to do 6 rows for the 6 logos that we have. So call md 2 6, sorry, call md 2 by 6. There it is. Okay, so now we have 3 columns for the 6 columns for 6 different logos in this row, which will be this one here. And now we're gonna type image, an image source. We need image source. Let's copy and put it all in all of them. Okay, let's save this. So now I'm gonna type the source will be the image companies. So C1, let me see, companies, EMG. It's inside companies, so 1 EMG companies, 2 EMG companies, 3 4 EMG companies, 5 and EMG companies, 6. Okay, now let's save this. Let's give it a class to the EMG. Let's take this out. Okay, so let's give it a class of EMG fluid. Okay. So let's go to the site and refresh, and there it is. Okay. So let's go to, so in this container, let's type here text center. Okay, let's save this and refresh it. Okay, we have this centered. So now we will have this section here, and we're gonna call this section feature. So let's create a new section. Class called feature. This will also have gradient, and now we're gonna have container row
call MD5 or let's type in MD6 and we're gonna type another call MD6. Okay, so if you didn't know already, container would be the full pack, the full group of a section. Row would be this row, horizontally row, and then the calls will be column 1, column 2 would be one call for this side, another call for this side. So we can put objects or images or any content next to one another. So in this case, let me just refresh. In this case, we're going to have 2. And now we're going to do basically what we did for the first header we've created. So this is a great product, and we also want to create paragraph. Hi, this is a great product indeed. I love it, how it was made. Let's save this, and then our image will be here. This is EMG folder. You can use this one. Now let's save this and let's see how it looks. And there it is. Okay, so we still have a few things to do. Okay, give it a light color. Also, let's change positions. Let's change this to this side. So what we need to do is grab this and going top here before the other call. So let's save this and refresh it, and there it is. Okay, so now what we need to do is push this a little bit down. So let's save this and refresh it, and there it is. Okay, so now what we need to do is push this a little bit down and turn it into white. So now we're gonna learn how to build a list like this. It's pretty easy. So let's go back here and type down here UL UL lists. So LI, we need, let's type 4 of them. Okay, let's go here and let's copy this. Let's use the same ones and copy this, and we can use the same. Save it. Let's go back here, and there it is. We have bullets, but we need to use these icons, right? So let's go back here. We also want to add some style CSS to the section feature. Sorry, feature. Feature gradient. Okay, feature. So this will be color white. So our font will be completely white. Sorry. Font color. Sorry. Font color white. So let's refresh. Sorry. Let's save this first. Let's refresh. All white. Okay. Now we just need to justify all this a little bit. So let's go to the class row and align items center. Okay, let's save this. Let's go back here. And there it is. Perfect. So now we're gonna change the icons to these ones here, that we have an image for that. So in order to use that image, let's go here to style, and down here let's type feature UL. So let's give it a few things to the UL. So padding left to RM, list style type, it's none. Okay, so now we're gonna style this with feature ULLI. Okay, so you have to give it a padding left to RM. Background image, you go to the image and go to check SVG picture or image, and then make sure you type also background, repeat, no repeat. Okay, if we go back to the side, this is what we'll get. Okay, now I'm gonna give a little padding here. So now make also a line height 1.5 rem and margin top 1 rem. Make sure you type that. Let's save this and refresh it, and there it is. Okay, awesome. Let's just give it also another padding to the H1 class. Let's give it a padding of my3 mi44p. Make sure you type this if you want a little padding, and it will look like this. Okay, gorgeous. So basically now we need the wave effect again. So let's go to the waves and let's change to another wave. Maybe, let me just check here. Maybe this one. Let's save this, copy SVG code. Let's go back here. So just right before closing section, we're gonna include this, copy this, save. And now let's refresh, and there it is. But we still need to put it in the top. Now, in order to create one for the top, we need to create here, this one here. So we're gonna copy the SVG code and paste it here just after section class feature gradient. Okay, this is for the top, and there it is. Okay, so we just need now to give this let's go back to the code, give this a white fill here. So FFF and save it. Okay, there it is. And down here, let's do the same. Let's do the same in here, FFF, save it, and there it is. Okay, great. So this is the feature section. Next, we need to create this section here. So let's create a new section here called a new section here with the class icons. And we need again, and then container and row. Now we're gonna type call md 4x3, since we need these three sections, three icons or elements. So go to icons.getbootstrap.com. Here you can use whatever icons you want. We're going to use, if we like an icon that you want to use, you just click whatever icon you want and you can download it, or you can use the XVG, copy directly into your code and use the whatever icon you want. So I already know the icons that I will use, so I'm gonna put them straight into the code that you can check in the comment section below with the icon. Okay, save this, and now let's check this, and we get an icon there. Okay, so I just created, you have to be very careful here, otherwise it will mess up the code. Anyway, I'm gonna give you the source code available so you can check it, or you can copy it by the end of the project. Anyway, here's the code for the icons, and if we go here, we have these three icons. Still have a lot to do with. So another thing we need to do is, after just right after we close SVG and the div, and after the code for each icon, we're gonna type or I'm going to include an H3 header and a paragraph, okay, for each one. So I'm going to copy this, and here as well. So and also here, SVG. Okay, let me save this and see how this looks. Okay, perfect. So so we now have to make these icons round. So now we need to change the icon CSS. Okay, so we can style these icons. So I already have here all the code we need to style the icon. So we're going to give it a color of 5 of FFF white, height, a width, font size, border radius, display, align items, justify content. So let me save this and refresh it. And there it is. Still, we need to, we need a little bit of justify center here. So now let's justify this and center it, this row. Let's go to the code, and in the index, let's go up here to the row, and you can use row text center. Okay, so save this, and there it is. Perfect. So let's give it a margin bottom. Let's give it a 20 pixels, and let's save this and refresh it. Okay, so a lot better. So we are done with this section, and the next section we will start with the gallery. Okay, and also this section, and also the bottom of the contact. So see you in the next video. Bye bye. So now we're going to create the gallery section. So let's type a new section. Let's give it a class of gallery. And now we're going to do the same thing we did before. So a class with container and row. Sorry, row. Okay. And here we're going to create call MD10, and in here gonna create a H1 and this is my gallery. And then you can also type a paragraph and type something like, here you can check my work, my work and projects. So you can type whatever you want. So let's go to here. Okay, so we have now to center it. So but before there, let's style it and give it a, let's go to the CSS and to gallery. Let's create a class gallery. Let's give it a style for the class gallery, and let's give it a background color of white smoke. Save this. Let's get back here. Okay, there it is. We will also need waves again. For every section we need to put waves. But for now, let's add a few images. So here, let's create a row div. So call MD4 multiplied by 3 images. So in here, I'm gonna give this image src equals, and then a class of fluid2. emg
class of fluid. Okay, so copy this and here, and now in here, EMG, and I'm gonna give the C1, and in here EMG C2, and in here EMG C3. Let's see how this looks. Save it first, obviously, and refresh, and there it is. So let's go to style, and in here let's style the images. So we have to type gallery, which is the main or the parent class, and EMG. Now border, let's give it a radius. Border radius equals to 5 pixels. Let's save this. Sorry, this is 5%. Yes. Let's save this and refresh this, and awesome. Okay, cool. Let's give it a little more. Let's give it a maybe 8%. Yes. Okay, so let's go. Let's give it a margin here. Here, my 3 margin, and gutter 3. And if you save now, you'll see that we'll have a little margin now. Cool. Okay. If we want to check how this looks on as a responsive on a new site for mobile, we can click here and go to developer tools. Okay, in here, and also click here, and there it is. So you can see how cool is this. Now if you pay attention, we have a few little things we have to work on. We have to work on these. We'll get back to these later. Okay, so now let's put this in the top copy, and let's go to the code. Okay, and now let's go to the bottom. I need for the bottom, copy SVG code, go here. I had one wave before, but I like this more, so I'm gonna paste it there, save it, and let's go here and refresh it. And oh, I forgot to put this white, so I have to go here. Remember, you have to change this to white. FFF is the white color up in here. Also, where is it? There it is. Okay, save it, refresh it, and there it is. Okay, cool. So yes, we now have the gallery. So let's continue with the next section, which is this one, where we have some different rows, 3 rows with an image and text, and then inverted image and text. Okay, so let's go, and we will finish this with the contact form. So let's do this. Let's go to our project, which is currently like this. So next, Let's go here and let's create 3 rows. So here, after the last section, let's create a new section. With a class. With a class called services gradient. Now let's call this, let's create a container and the row. And now let's type, let's create call MD6 by MD5 by 6. Okay, so we have these different 6 elements. So this would be text, here image, here image, here text, and then inverted again, text and image. Okay, we can put it like this for better understanding. Now here can even type text here, image, and then image, text, and then again text and image. Okay, cool. Let's save this. So let's type already the EMG. Let's put the image source. So EMG coding. This is the image. This is also another image. SRC. EMG coding, marketing, and the other image is here. EMG SRC source, and here image and revenue. Okay, so let's save this. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so here it is. For now, we see you have the text here, so we have to check that out, but the images are working perfectly. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is to use the code I have up in here. Let me just I can grab this and copy it, H1 and paragraph, and use that for the text in here. Okay, here and in here. Okay, let's save this. Let's see how it looks. Okay, nice. So buttons, let's go to buttons, and let me type here this button here, or maybe the yellow one. Let me use the yellow one because I like it. So this will go in here. Copy, and in the code this would go here. Just before the H1s. Okay, the headers in here. Okay, so let's save this and let's go back here. And oh, this is button goes before the H1, so in here, not in here.
You have to be careful with that here. Sorry about that. But we all make mistakes. So let me see, H1. Okay, this button here. I even said it is before H1 and I didn't do it correctly. So yes, in here, and I know, guys, I'm going to indent all of this in just a second. I know what you're thinking. This is all the messed up code. Just bear with me, please. Okay, save it. And now if we go here, okay, that's it. Okay, but this is not the button I want. Okay, let's leave it that way for now. And so now we're gonna style this a little bit. So let's go to services, bit of font. Okay, let's type color. There it is, white. Now also let's go back here and we need to work on padding and spacing. Let's go back in here. Let's give it a here, a little bit more text. Just a little bit more. Let's give it a little bit more text in here. Okay, so we can test it way better. Okay, so this. Okay, so now what we're gonna need also is, let's give this, it's let's give it a, let's go down here in the class row. So this is services class row. Let's give it a margin 3 and let's see how this works. Okay, a little bit more. So this, go back, refresh it. It's a little better, but we still need, I still need this to be. Now let's type here, align items, center, save it, and there it is, it lies in the center. Now let's change this button right here for this one here, which is the, let's type this, the info one here. I like it more. So we can go here. Let's go to the code, to the button, any button, and take this out, put a new one. Take this out, put the new one, and take this out, put the new one, and save this, refresh it, and there it is. Okay, how cool is that? We can also, instead of info, try read more. This would be better in here and in here. Save it. Now also here, let's type, we need to justify the content center
save it and refresh, and there it is. So perfectly ready. Okay, so now I'm gonna give a wave here and a wave at the bottom. Well, maybe I'm gonna leave it straight like that, and you can do it if you want to in your own project. I'm gonna leave it this way just to change a little bit. So we have so many waves above. Now the next section is the contact, this contact here. Okay, so let's do that, the final section. So for that, let's go here and let's create a new section called contact form, class contact, and in here let's create container and row. Side row, let's create call MD5. In here you can type h1, this is our contact, or this is my contact form. Please contact below. And now we go to forms and form control, and we're gonna use this first one. So copy this and paste it just right after this. Let's change this to contact us below. Okay, let's save this. Let's see how it looks. And there it is. So we need to give it a little bit of sizing there, a little bit of space. But before that, let's add a button. So let's type the button in here. Let me save this and check it. There it is. Perfect. Now let me just change this a little bit in here and give it a this is contact this is contact. So let's give it a margin top of 10 pixels. Save this. Let's give it a little more. Let's give it 40 pixels. Maybe 50. Okay, that's enough. So we have email address, text area, send, and we are now finished with, we only need to include a footer. Let's go to index, and after section here, I've included a footer already done. You can include this as well. Make sure you use these footer properties on your style CSS, and let's give it a height here of let's go to 50 pixel height. Let's save this, and yes, that's a little better. Okay, so this is all for now. The project is completed. I hope you liked it. You can use this for your own projects, or
for a client, for a project that you have for a client, but you can still do a lot more and improve here. You can change, maybe these colors are not very attractive. You can also create different links to different pages. You can still improve the logo. Obviously create a gallery with more pictures or more descriptions. Okay, so this is all, and see you later.